Hey everybody, I'm here again, and we're talking with Michelle Keane. She's our creative of the month, and we're going to be finding out more about Michelle Keane. Some of you may know her, some of you may not know her. Michelle, you're Jamaican, but you live in Japan, right?
Yeah. I live in Kyoto City, Japan. Yeah,
Okay,
Kyoto
cool.
City, Kyoto Prefecture.
So before
Um,
we really get into it, like give us a little background about yourself, like what parish are you from, the schools you
mm,
went to, that sort of thing.
oh, okay. So I'm from Kingston. Well, specifically the Havendale area. I
Okay.
lived up one of those hills. um, and I went to Hillel Prep as a
Oh,
kid.
really?
I went to Hillel with what shoot, what's the that aquatic painter? I forget his
What?
name, but I went to Hillel with his daughter.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If anybody remembers his name, he used to like back in the '90s. He used to have like T-shirts and stuff like that, like with the paintings
Oh,
on it, if
is
you
it
remember. And
was this that guy
you know,
something guy?
yeah, something
Guy?
like that. Yeah,
I
something like
know I
that.
know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So I went to
Um.
Hillel with his daughter.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Hey, so that
yeah.
was a bad experience. Right?
Yeah, Hillel was not the greatest. I mean, there were like good points, but there are a
Yeah,
lot of not so great points. So
I understand. And what
yeah,
where did you go after Hillel?
I went to St Andrew High School for girls, you know,
Ah, yeah, that
or
was the
St
sister
Andrew,
school for
whichever you want
my
to call
St. Andrew.
it. Yeah, St Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Mrs. Reed was our principal for like
Okay.
ages. So
Yeah, I went to JC, so we were sister schools.
sisters, yeah,
My
yeah.
brother's what
St
my
Andrew
brother and
was
sister school.
yeah, yeah. St Andrew was fun. Some parts of it was again like high school was also some parts were really good and some parts were not so
Mm-hmm.
great. But
Mm-hmm.
I had really good friends. I think I guess my friend circle was quite small, but I had really good friends in high school. I believe I would like to
Okay.
believe. Um, Actually, one of the girls that I knew in high school lives in Japan too, but I think she lives in Tokyo.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
And
there's a
then
lot of Jamaicans here.
yeah, my brother is over there.
Right.
So after St. Andrew or St. Andrew, where did you go?
So after that, I went to UTech, and UTech was better.
Mm-hmm.
um, I I really wanted to go to art school actually, so I had applied to several different art schools. I think I applied to, or I was considering applying to Parsons at one point, because
And
my
what's
family didn't want
Parsons?
me to. Parsons in New York. It's like
Oh, okay.
called the New School, and I don't remember what I was considering at the time why I chose Parsons. But I didn't know that many art schools in the U.S. I only knew like Savannah College of Art and Design,
Oh, okay.
and I knew that was really good for animation, and I really wanted to do animation. I think at the time, so I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at SCAD, and I looked at like there's a school in Florida called Ringling, I think.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I was considering Ringling as well. New York, I didn't know about any schools in New York, but actually there is a school that I ended up applying to later on, but like years later. But um, and I applied to Memphis College of Art and Design, and I actually got in. Um,
Ah,
but I yeah, but and I got like a small scholarship, but it was really expensive, and my parents didn't let me go. So my second, like my fallback choice was UTech, but I was kind of too late to do the computer science degree, so I ended up in the teaching
oh, you
course
went.
for like a year
Oh, okay. Okay.
before I transferred. I transferred eventually, but like I was in the teaching course for like the first year, and
Mm.
then I transferred to the full IT course, and I did like web design. Do not remember a thing. I'm not like a web designer
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
So Yeah. And then after graduating, I worked for maybe 2 years. And then in 20, no, was it that? Something like that. And then or 1 year and a half or something. No, 2 years. Yeah. I think it was either 2 years or a year and a half. And then I applied for the MEXT scholarship, or the Mombuka Gakusho scholarship to come to a school in Japan. And I went to what's now called Kyoto University of Art and Design here in Kyoto,
Mhm.
which is great because I've always wanted to come to Kyoto. So it kind of
Right, 'cause
worked
you
out to
were,
my
if I
favor.
remember, you were studying Japanese before you left Jamaica, right?
Yeah, but I will be honest. I didn't. I didn't study that much in terms of.
Right.
I studied quite a lot, like for a long time, but I didn't really study that much because it wasn't every day or
Mhm.
anything. It was maybe like once a week or a couple times a month or
Right,
something.
right, right.
Even though they were like, I studied like I started studying Japanese when I was 15. Because my mother met a Japanese woman who happened to teach, and she did private classes. So I did private classes with her like for a summer, I think. I still keep in touch with her more or less. Um, she's still in Jamaica,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I think she still teaches Japanese at the I don't remember the name of it, but like the Language Institute place. I can't remember the name. And
Yeah,
they do
yeah.
like
I don't remember
French
the name either,
and
but I know what you're talking
yeah.
about.
So I know that they do I think they still do Japanese there, but I think she still also does private classes. But anyway, so I did Japanese with her, and then when I got the scholarship, I did before that in university, I did Japanese with Nishida-san, but Nishida-san now lives in Japan, so
Oh,
they
okay.
moved back. Although Mr. Nishida, he like goes back and forth sometimes, so Nishida-san, and then I
Is
did classes
Nishida
again with
is Nishida the same guy who does gymnastics out
gymnastics.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So I did Japanese. His wife taught me Japanese too.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because she
okay.
she was teaching Japanese at UTech.
Right, right, right.
So
And we're here going
um
through your journey, and I haven't even established, what you do yet. Like,
oh
what
yeah.
do you do? Are you an animator? Are you an illustrator? Are you, what do you do?
Technically both.
Both.
So
Okay.
I work in illustration in my current job. But I studied technically I studied hmm, it's a master degree, so it was like kind of not everything, but like I focused on animation, but I the we did more like how to create concepts and that kind of thing. So
Right,
that's
right,
kind
right.
of and I focused more on illustration I focused a little bit more on illustration my first year, and then I did more animation in my second year. Technically, I mean, I did animation both years, but it was like you had to create one film by yourself, so
Right,
you
right,
had 2
right.
years to do it, right? So,
Do
um,
you have that film? It was a stop motion, right?
yeah, it's stop
Have that on
motion.
the
So,
computer that you're on now?
uh, I
It's
think I
something
still have it. Yeah,
I wouldn't want
I
you
mean,
to
I
shut it down, but
uploaded it
definitely. Oh, you uploaded it? Where did you upload it? Because I can just.
to my website.
Oh, it's on your website.
Yeah, let
I'm
me
actually
like
on
say.
your website. Spindalis,
Okay,
right?
yeah. So I know it's like a weird name, but it's apparently the name of like a yellow and black bird,
Oh, really? I was
like a
actually gonna
Jamaican
ask
bird.
you. Oh, really? A Spindalis?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So I was just like, cause I was looking for like different Jamaican birds, and I didn't want to name it. What's the like John like like some weird names that I heard, but like um
Oh, yes, I see.
yeah.
In
So
fact,
they're endemic
this
to the
looks
West
like
Indies,
this
basically.
looks
So
like
maybe not specifically Jamaican, but
yeah. This almost looks like let me tell you, it almost looks like a banana squid or a banana katy. It's
oh,
like
maybe
the
that's the actual name.
yeah, maybe that's like the The
The
colloquial
Jamaican
name or
name.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always drawn, like, even as a child, even in elementary school, or sorry, in prep school.
Yeah.
So I remember drawing like princesses, and I remember like at one point because I would copy illustrations, right? So I had a lot of Disney stuff, and I remember I used to copy Pocahontas, like the drawing of Pocahontas, and then my
Yeah.
mother wanted me to sell them at school as bookmarks, and that never worked out. I'm not like very good at that. I'm not very
Say,
good at like selling
no.
things, so
Yeah.
and I don't really like doing it necessarily, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, my mother
Okay.
wanted me to do
Cool.
that. It didn't work out, so
Okay. And did
I
you do
I
art in high
remember
school?
I did do art in high school. I think I did like CXC art as well.
Cool.
And I also had was asked to do the design for like one of the yearbooks. I did like the cover design.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think back then I used to draw, and I used to draw like I with some friends. I guess maybe you do know Kira. She doesn't live in Jamaica anymore. Kira, and there's one other
Yes.
girl called Sanita. And the
Oh no,
three
I
of us
don't.
like kind of hung out together. And I
Okay.
used to draw comics with. I don't remember if Kira drew them with us, but I used to draw
Kira,
comics with this other girl.
Kira, she won Kingston. I think the first Kingston didn't she? Is that the same person?
Yeah, yeah, that Kira.
2013 or
Yeah.
something like that. Okay.
Night. I think it was her last name, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So we went to high
Great.
school
No,
together.
was it? I don't think it was Keira Knightley. I think Keira Knightley is an actress.
The actress, yeah, that is true. Kira Clayton. I think her last name
Clayton,
is Clayton.
that's it. Yes,
Yeah.
Clayton. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I thought that. It's an
No, because you know
automatic, I
what?
think.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All right. So when did you know you wanted to, do art and specifically animation for a career? Like when did that kind of like hit you?
Oh, that was in university at UTech, because we did a little bit of. I know you. I don't know if you probably know the twins,
Yeah, man.
Jake,
Rushing and Lushing and Jake,
Roshan,
right?
yeah, and
Jake from State Farm.
yeah, I think they taught an animation in like Flash, and I thought it was really interesting, and I think at that time I was considering it. Uh, Before that, I thought like animation was too difficult. I would just do
Mhm.
illustration or comics. I was considering doing like manga. I wanted to come to Japan and become a manga artist. All those like
Is that still a possibility?
lofty. No, I would not want to be a manga artist. No,
Oh no,
no, no,
we need to
no.
unpack that question.
Um,
But we can do that a
I
little
actually
later.
know someone who teaches manga, so
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. So and I was just like, yep, nope, based on
So
like her.
let me ask you this question now. What was your first job, non-animation job, and what was your first animation job? And this can be gigs too.
Like in general, like
Yeah, like did
working
you
in.
like when you left UTech, like was your first job like
Oh
working
yeah.
at a printery, or did you just
Oh
your
no.
first job was in illustration?
My first job was working in a factory.
And a factory. What
Yeah. So I
happened?
worked in I had like this. So technically, it was a summer job that like lasted very long.
Uh,
So
what
I
kind of
worked in
factory
like
then?
this. It's like a cosmetics factory.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to like talk their business, but whoo, that was an interesting job. The experience was very ridiculous. There are some things that I would have to say off the record because I don't want to like
Understand.
share the business. But like
Understand.
yeah, but I worked for a factory. I worked for like half a year there, and then um I guess I got let go or fired which was kind of funny because I wasn't technically working there. It was weird.
Mhm.
It was like I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
working as
yeah.
a summer job, and at the end of summer it was supposed to stop, but then they just never said go home. like,
Ah, okay.
and then yeah, and then after a while they like technically fired me, even though
Okay.
I technically
It's
wasn't
time
like
to
a
go, Michelle. It's time to go.
yeah. It's like so I was like okay, whatever. And then I went to New York, um, because my parents were trying to like get me to migrate. That didn't work out because I had applied for the JET program as well, and I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, it's either stay in New York or do the JET program. And I wanted to come to Japan more than I wanted to stay in New York, so I came back home. And after like not that much time in New York, and my parents were pretty mad at me. I didn't get through with the JET program either,
Mm.
so um, it was
But
not a
why are
good
they
year.
mad at you for that? I mean, that's not your fault.
Yeah, I mean they were mad at me for coming back, for choosing to come
Oh,
back to
for coming
Jamaica.
back.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
mean,
regret coming back to Jamaica?
huh?
Do you regret coming back to Jamaica at that point in time?
No, not
Well,
at
then there you
all.
go. As long as you don't
So
regret it, then it's not a problem.
yeah, I mean maybe it would have been more like maybe I would have had more interesting experiences in the U.S., but like would I? I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
like you
Like,
know.
do you even feel like you
So
fit in New York?
not really. I mean, I like the idea of New York,
Mm.
like the big city. Um,
Oh,
like I like
I
the idea
love.
of portrayed in movies.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I like the idea of San Diego and I like the idea of Atlanta, but San Diego's prices, I don't like the idea of. Like, it's an expensive city.
No. Yeah, I've heard. I know some people who live. I think either live there or have lived there, and it seems
Mm-mm.
quite
Well, I can understand, yeah, you like the idea, but the reality and the idea are two different things.
different things. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
So you move back to
So,
Jamaica, and then what happened
mhm.
there where, job-wise concerned?
And then I got like a really shitty job. I
Mm,
got like this awful, and it's only shitty because the person was awful. Like the
okay.
boss was terrible. And I worked there for like a while with like the worst pay.
Mm.
Um, I was getting paid like 25,000
A
Jamaican
month?
dollars a month. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, and that was the worst pay. And the guy that hired me, because it was for like video editing, and the
Mm.
guy, and I wasn't like very confident in video editing because I hadn't done it like I only did like After Effects stuff like a little bit. So I had only edited films in After Effects, so I didn't know how to use
Yes, yeah,
Premiere
yeah.
Pro at the time. So they asked me to come and do like a little test thing, and I did the test, and I was there for like hours and hours and hours because their computers were very slow, and
Ooh.
to use After Effects on the computer was like wading through molasses or something.
Mm, mm.
And basically the guy was like, based on your experience, I'll only pay you 25,000, even though I was asking for
I feel
45.
I feel like I know who this is. I don't know why.
Probably,
I feel like I know who this is.
probably.
Just
He's like,
the vibe sounds very familiar.
yeah, I don't like him. He's very.
Off air, I'll ask you if it is who I think it
If it's
is.
a oh, okay.
I'll just ask one
That's how I
question.
work.
Does he have good? Well, no. Let me
No,
not ask because
maybe that would probably like give it away, so I'm not gonna like
exactly,
describe it or anything.
exactly, because he might watch this and go, wait, she's talking
Yeah,
about me. So yeah, I won't ask. Off
maybe.
air, I'll ask.
um,
But yeah.
so I worked there, and then like after a while, I quit because I just couldn't handle the environment. It wasn't very good,
Mm-hmm,
so I
hmm.
quit, and I found another job somewhere else where it was a little bit better. I got paid better. I mean, I got
Okay.
paid the starting like the 45,000 that I was asking for, which I mean, also I think is a little bit it's low, but
Yeah, it's low, but you know,
but
it's it's it's. I mean, 25 grand a month is terrible. That's like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember what minimum wage was back then, but
I don't think
25
it was
is
much.
Yeah, 25 is terrible because the literal truth is that at 25 grand Jamaican dollars, by the time you travel to work and eat lunch, there
Yeah,
is
that's it.
no.
Yeah,
So
you don't have
yeah,
any money.
as far as I'm concerned, if if going to work costs you more than staying home, then
Why
it doesn't
bother?
make sense.
Why bother going to work? You know.
Right. If you can get
So
paid enough to say, okay, I can go to work, eat lunch, and take something home, then you're like, all right,
yeah,
we're starting at a good place.
yeah. But it was awful. And my second job was a lot better. I mean, even though our boss was still pretty hard, like,
Mhm.
kind of like a perfectionist, he was like
Yeah.
really, well, to me, I mean, I had a great relationship with him, I
Right.
think.
Right. Right.
Um, and I even got a bonus like in the year that I
Really.
was working there. Yeah, so I thought that was like a really, really great job. Unfortunately, I had to leave the job quite early because I applied for the scholarship and I got the
Right.
scholarship and I
Right.
got into
Right.
university. So
Okay.
I had
Cool.
to leave the job early. But yeah.
Okay. And all right. So let me ask. Why did you choose Japan?
Well, so in actuality, when I was looking for schools, I actually applied to a school in the UK as well. So I applied to Bournemouth because they do different kinds of animation. I kind of regret. I applied for the undergraduate course, and I kind of regret that because they did have a really good master's course as well. And I
Right.
was trying to get a scholarship to study there. And one of the questions in the scholarship program was in the at a scholarship interview was why are you applying for the undergraduate when you already have an undergraduate? And I was like,
Mm.
oh, I just want. I think I said I wanted to start over or something. I don't remember what I said, but
Oh. Okay.
I didn't get that scholarship. And I
Okay.
did the scholarship interview for Japan, and they asked me like if I were to choose between the UK and Japan, where would I choose? And I said I would choose Japan. And so, I guess I've always wanted to come to Japan, and I thought it would be like a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what, Japan. That's kind of pretty much why I chose to come here.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about Japan a little bit later, only
Mhm.
because me, I love this part of the interview where we're just like getting to know, but I know a lot of people they're just like, where's our art? Where's our art? Show the art sooner.
Oh.
So I'm here on your Instagram page looking on your art. And one of the things I remember seeing on one of your profiles is that I think you're one of your there are two animations you listed as like your favorite animation. One was Steven Universe and the other one I don't remember what the other one was. Uh,
I do not know now.
I think it was on your
I
website,
mean,
but we'll see it in a bit. But I'm looking through your
okay.
artwork, and it's a very interesting styles. One of the
Okay.
things that I there's some artists, especially like self-taught artists, they tend to have one style. Like their style the instant you see it.
Hmm.
Your style, I can see that you have different styles. Some of them I can kind of see some influences in, but I want you to kind of speak about like what influences your art, what inspires you when you're doing your drawings.
Oh, okay. So, well, when I was in university here, um, I did like a bit of an illustration course. I did it like
Hmm.
one semester, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember the teacher asking us to like write down our influences, and I don't remember everything at the. I think I put Steven
Right.
Universe as well at the time. Steven Universe, and I think I also put like Mike Mignola. Is that his name?
Oh,
Like
I think so. That name
uh,
sounds familiar.
Hellboy. I put Hellboy,
Oh, okay.
basically. I think that's the artist's name is Mike Mignola, and I really like those kind of graphic styles. So I think I kind of try to retain a sense of like graphicness, like angularity. Well, maybe not angularity. Like now it's like smoothness or roundness. I try to retain
Right.
that in my work, but I like I like really graphic styles, and I think I
Yeah.
always go back to that kind of look, even though I experiment a lot and I try like different things. I always try. I think I always go back to a more graphic looking style, like with
Yeah.
hard
I
um
can definitely see
shadows.
that. Like I'm trying to pinpoint like animations that I know that kind of feel like the artwork that you do. I can't really
Hmm.
specifically pinpoint any, but things like what's that thing called? Wolf.
Oh, Wolf
Uh,
Children? Yeah.
is it Wolf
Oh
Children?
no, Wolf Walkers, you mean?
Wolf
Wolf
Walkers, right?
Walkers?
Wolf Walkers,
Yeah.
and
I love that studio. So
yeah, those are the
I
things
love
that
all
kind of
their
come
work.
to mind. Yeah,
That's the studio in Ireland, I believe.
I think
And
so.
they
Yes.
have like some beautiful like work. Like their work is just like every scene you're just like blown away because it's
Hmm.
just so pretty, And I love like the design of it, like the design
Right,
work that
right.
they do and stuff. So I would love my work to look more like that, honestly. But I think like I inject other there's other like influences that I have. Like I do love Steven Universe and I like how
Right.
fluffy everything looks like rounded and
Yeah, yeah,
chubby
yeah.
and stuff. I like that. And I love Over the Garden Wall as well. I love but I guess
Yeah.
it's like a nice middle ground between Steven Universe and um like Wolf Walker's type work because it's a little bit more it's like a little bit of both, like a little bit of
Right.
fluffiness and a little bit of graphicness. Yeah, kind of like
Okay.
that. But
No, I was
sorry.
just yeah, you can continue.
Oh, I was saying like I think I'm generally influenced by like art that I see as well. So
Okay. And
there's
so
that.
what would you say is your favorite genre of animation? You know, what's your favorite genre?
Uh
Especially like, the genre that you would prefer to work in.
oh, I guess my favorite genre is stop motion.
Mm,
Um, I really do enjoy make creating things and bringing them to life, kind of. Uh,
you
but
know,
I don't mind 2D. I don't think I'm like the greatest 2D animator to be honest,
right.
and I'm not necessarily the greatest stop motion animator either. I really need
But
to
you just
practice a
enjoy the
lot more.
process.
Yeah, but I do enjoy. I mean, after screaming and pulling on my hair, yeah.
Let me tell you, I really wish somebody would do stop motion in Jamaica. Well, there's a guy, he has an Instagram channel called Small World Island, I think it is. He
Hmm.
does stop motion, it's something that he clearly enjoys. But
Yeah.
like, I really wish the people in Jamaica who like stop motion would get together and work on something. There was a
Uh.
student I taught, Jamar Royal, I think his name is.
Hmm.
I taught him stop motion. Like, stop motion was just a piece of the animation course because we're kind of
Right.
like, it was like a very general animation course, so we're teaching them
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit
To
of
every
stop
a little bit
motion,
of
a little
everything.
bit of 2D, and he fell in love with,
Hmm.
with stop motion. He was just like, "Sir, can I just do stop motion alone? Like, I don't like 2D or 3D." And I'm always encouraging him to get together with the this that I don't remember, the Joseph something is a smaller island
Oh.
guy.
Hmm.
I'm always encouraging because I'm like, yo, stop motion is something very rare in Jamaica. It
Yeah.
really would be
I
nice to
mean,
see that.
to be honest, stop motion is rare everywhere. So it's
Yeah,
like rare
exactly.
worldwide. It's not like there's a very small amount of even in Japan there's a
Exactly.
very small amount of stop motion animators and studios, even less. There's even less
Yeah.
studios.
And that's the thing, the
Yeah.
aesthetic is so appealing in my opinion because there's an animation on Netflix. I don't remember the
Oh,
name
the
of it
house.
now. The house,
The
yeah.
house.
Yo, that thing creepy as hell. Like, I'm
I
watching it
haven't
like,
watched it yet, but
yo, I was watching, I was like, yo, I feel so creeped out.
I think I forget the name of the animation looks like I forget her name though. Maybe it was Hannah. Was it Hannah? I forget her name. She's a British stop motion animator, and I do not remember her name. But it looks like her work because she
Mm-hmm.
has a short film called Enough. It's won several awards, and it's really
Okay.
really good.
Okay.
It's really funny. I would suggest anybody interested in stop motion or anybody who loves film or whatever just to watch it. It's hilarious.
Enough. All right, I'll check it out. So all
Yeah.
right, I have a stop motion piece here. I don't know how much of it is here. I could play it from
Oh,
your
that's all
website
of
if
it,
it's longer.
actually.
Oh, this is all of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it should be all of it.
All right. So can I play this?
Gosh, I hope. I hope so.
Does it have sound?
I think it should. I believe it
It
should.
should. I wonder. Let me just
Yeah,
make
because
sure
it's
that
on
when I
Vimeo. This is on my
share,
website or Instagram. I mean, I think it
Instagram.
should. I think it
Let
should.
me. I'm
Or
gonna
maybe
reshare
it's.
and just make sure that audio is selected. I mean, I can play it from your website. Here it is. Oh, it's a
Yeah, the
15
website.
seconds long?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me see what this is all about. I don't think I've seen this one.
Oh,
This was claymation.
yeah.
Wow, this is cool. That is pretty cool. How long did that take you?
The long story or the short story? um, the short story is it took 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
The long
those
story is that it took
back to
three
back
days
days?
after like failing for like 3 other days.
Uh,
So it took like a week
uh,
and something.
okay. Very important to
Yeah.
note. Yeah. And you know, it's a very important thing. It's like when you're dealing with clients,
Mhm.
they tend to think that, you know, you can just do things in no time. Oh, I need this, they'll contact you on Friday evening.
Mhm.
Oh, I need this by Monday. And they're
Yeah.
just thinking that, hey, you're creative and you know how to do this. And they don't realize that every single job is different. And almost every single
Mhm.
job is like an experiment. And you need that time to
Mhm.
explore and,
Mhm.
yes, there are some jobs that are very similar and you can do them in no time, but
Mhm.
everybody has different ideas. And it's like, yo, if you want this by Monday, it may
Mhm.
not look as good as if you give me till,
Mhm.
like 2 weeks time. That's a very important thing for
Yeah.
people to know.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Well, if I'm gonna be honest, the
Mhm.
long story is from like start to completion of the film. It took maybe, when did they contact me? I guess they contacted me in August. But it took, I would say, 2 months to do
Mhm. Right. And
because it it doesn't just happen like whew,
right, right,
like they're just like, hey, we want you to do this. No, it was they had a thing that they were doing and they were like, hey, can you give us a pitch for this thing based on this concept and you can do whatever you want. And I had like a lot of help because I didn't know what I was doing
right,
because the concept, they contacted me based on my personal Instagram page. I didn't have like a dedicated art page at the time, and they contacted me on my personal Instagram page saying like, I like your little stop motion pieces that you have there. Can you do some work? And I was like, is this real? Am I dreaming? And then they're like, no, yeah, we want you to do some work for us. And I was like, okay. So I um, did the pitch document. I had a lot of help to do that. Um, I asked for a lot of advice because I didn't know what I was doing. And then I sent it to them. They liked two of the stories, I think. And I chose to do this particular one
okay,
and the blob one because the
okay,
other one was going to be a little bit too much work. It was going to take way too long.
right,
Like the
right,
current
right.
one I'm working on is taking a long time just to do the storyboard. I mean, not the
Yeah,
storyboard, just to do the animatic. Actually, it's taking
right,
me a
right,
long
right.
time. But the so I did that. I did a storyboard. I don't think the animatic is on here. I would have to show you
No,
that
that's fine.
separately.
That's
So
fine.
like, yeah, so like I did a storyboard and then I did an animatic to send them, and they were like, okay, we like this or we don't like this or whatever. And then um and then I did the filming. The filming itself, because it's just clay. Also, clay is so difficult to work with. I hated it.
Hmm.
So because it was clay, everything was like already there. I just had to make the shape. So it didn't take as long as like the second one that I did for them.
Right, right. That's
Which,
this one, Tamron.
oh no, that's my student film.
Oh, this is your student film. Oh, I want to
Yeah.
actually play this. I think I've seen this before, but I
Um,
don't
for
remember it. Let me play this.
I've entered this one into film festivals. Um,
Yeah, I do remember this one.
yeah, I've attempted. There was like a lot of drama with this, with filming this. So like there are some parts where I'm just like, oh, this wasn't very good.
Yeah, no, I
But it
can
was also my
imagine.
second film, so the music.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What? Right.
Thank you.
You say you entered some film festivals. Did you get into any of them? Did you win any of them?
Let me double check because I know there was one that film Freeway it was on. Yeah, I did. I just don't remember which ones it was like right now. Um,
And I guess why you search for that, like what influenced this story?
so so basically it was my thesis. I was uh what is going on here? Oh, this is on Gmail. That's why. I was like
Mhm.
that was um so for my thesis I wanted to focus on um well initially I was thinking about talking about racism in animation like well I wanted to talk about like why not animate why films animated films in the West used animals or like anthropomorphic characters to deal with
Right.
more difficult stories rather than having like human characters deal with it. And then I decided like I really like maybe I should have done that more because there
Mm.
was I think that was when Zootopia came out. But like uh what's the other one about the girl in her mind? Um the Japanese name is kind of silly and that's the only one I can remember right now. Uh
The
the
reason,
one about
well,
the
the reason,
emotions and stuff.
right.
Yeah, that hadn't come out yet, I guess. But Zootopia had come out, and I thought it was a really good film. And I was thinking, why not do something that focuses on that? But then I couldn't really find that much uh, data to say like that was like a thing
Hmm.
at the time. So I decided to focus more on like racism in
Right,
animation.
right.
Um, and then I read a lot about that. There's like a lot of information out there about that. Basically, how
Right, right.
like early animation especially, has a history in minstrelsy. So that's why they
Yes.
wore like the white gloves. And there's like even, the way black characters are portrayed in those animated shows back then. The black characters were actually drawn very similarly to monkeys.
Right.
So and then so I watched like quite a bit of racist animation. Like
Hmm.
I watched all the band cartoons that the that not Warner Brothers uh like Looney Tunes. So I watched
Yeah.
like all the band ones. There's like 11 of them. I watched all of them. They're very racist. Oh my god. And I talked about like how when I was a kid I actually had seen one of those cartoons when I was a
Right.
kid. Like the one I think it's called All This and Rabbit Stew, where you
Hmm.
had kind of like an Elmer Fudd type character
Really.
and Bugs Bunny. And there was like some racist stuff in that one. So I remember watching that as a child and then not realizing what it was and then watching it again as an adult and just like wow, this is really messed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. And it's a
um
bit cruel. It's a bit cruel in a sense because it's like you're watching these things, they're masked as, fun little comedy
Fun,
stuff,
yeah.
and you're not fully, especially, if you're a child, you're not fully realizing what you are watching,
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
has lasting effects,
Effects
you
on you.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought about it. I thought like, is this why I never well, I don't think I put all of that in my thesis. You only have so many words that you can write. But
Right,
I thinking about it now, it's like, is that why I didn't like the way I looked as a kid? Could that have been
right,
part of the reason?
right.
And I also thought about like, could these kind of shows, like considering when they came out, it was like the 50s, I guess, but or the 30s or the 40s, I cannot remember now,
Right,
but
yeah, yeah.
could these shows have influenced the children then to have racist ideals now? You know.
Right, right, exactly. Because that's the
Yeah. So
thing.
I
It's
thought
not
about that.
just, it's definitely not just affecting you as a minority. It's affecting the persons who are, you know, in the majority, or, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
In the case of
Yeah.
America, it would
Yeah. In the case
influence
of
white
yeah,
people to kind of look down on black people
on
and think that this
anybody
is where
else,
they're
like
making it right, yeah,
yeah.
and anybody else, etc. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I'm glad they're banning some of these things now, but it's very
Hmm.
important history that I hope they don't erase, and they ensure to
Erase them.
place it in the
Yeah.
right context so that people can kind of understand where we're coming from.
Right. I think that's one of the things that Disney has done. Like they have
Mhm.
kind of tried to erase that history in a way. So
Yeah.
like Fantasia, there is some racist stuff in Fantasia, but they've like
Oh
cut the
wow, I didn't
racist
even.
parts out. Yeah,
Right,
like
right.
the original one. I mean, I haven't seen the original one, but I've seen the clips. Like you can find it on YouTube. There was like the centaur part. There was like a subservient black centaur.
Mm,
Yeah. So,
imagine that.
but they took that part out.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and I mean, I think like for like and then there's Song of the South, which I mean you can probably find in Japan,
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's
but
interesting because even just recently, an animator from an African country had posted an animation, and it's where this guy is
mm,
praying, and while he's praying, it's like obviously what he was trying to say is that the devil was trying to influence him to do bad
mm,
things, and
mm,
because he was praying, Jesus came and saved him.
mm,
Now, the problem I had with the animation was that the devil was portrayed as an African man in African
uh-huh,
garb, and the African man was
mm.
going to stab him, and Jesus was portrayed as a white man in a white robe, and Jesus pulled
Oh
out a whip.
my,
Yeah, Jesus pulled out a whip and whipped the African
wow,
devil. And I,
yeah,
I said to the guy, I never cussed him off or anything like that because I realized that, he probably doesn't even realize the connotation of it
yeah,
because of the images that have already
image,
been in his
yeah,
head. So I said to him, boy, I'm disappointed. And the reason I was disappointed is because of how you chose to portray the devil and Jesus. I was like, if
mm,
they were both white, or if the devil was just a traditional red guy with pointy
yeah, with
whatever, I would probably
horns or
just say,
something,
okay, fine, you're going with the stereotypical, you know,
yeah,
Jesus versus devil. But the fact that the
yeah,
devil was a black African in African clothes, I was just like, this
yeah,
unfortunately is
internalized,
self-hate. Yeah,
yeah, like the internalized racism
yeah. And
thing,
and they
yeah,
disagreed with me. Like it's funny. The white people in the group agreed with me and said that they didn't
and
like the connotation. And the
yeah,
other black people were like, oh, you're just being negative, and you need to think with your mind and not your head, and don't let your emotion get the better of you. It's
this is
just
not
artistic
emotional. It's
expression.
just
And I was like,
it
no,
is
it's
what it
not
is.
just artistic. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
It
I
is what
told
it
them
is.
that I think they're in their like 20s. I told them that when you get older, you'll probably look
But
back
I
on this
understand.
animation and go,
Yeah.
hmm,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
That wasn't a good choice.
exactly. All right,
Yeah.
so
I
let me
mean,
ask
mhm,
tough question.
mhm.
Um, what's it been like in Japan? Like when you just moved there, like what was it
Mhm.
like getting used to Japan?
Uh, so I'll
You
say
know.
like initial moving here, it wasn't that difficult to acclimate, I guess. Maybe because my parents were very strict. I don't know.
Mhm. Okay.
But initially like okay, so my I did learn Japanese in Jamaica, but I was not prepared. I'm gonna say that
Mhm.
I was not prepared at all when I came here. Because when I came here, I realized that I knew no Japanese at all.
Right, right.
I could barely speak, and um, I stayed with like a friend's family, And then I went to language school because for my course I had to do a year of language school before entering the course because the course is all in Japanese, right? So I did like a year of language school. I studied really, really hard the first half, and then the second half, not so much. But I wish I studied more. I should have,
Right.
because then maybe my grades would have been. My grades were not bad. I'm not saying that, but like maybe I would have been able to understand a lot more if I had studied a lot harder.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
the second
Okay.
half, uh, yeah, but it was like a lot of studying, and I didn't really go many places in my first year, to be honest. I had like some friends, and then some of them turned out to be not the greatest of friends,
Oh no.
that I just never kept in touch with. Um, but what like I had like made like a couple really really good friends there that I do still keep in touch with from time to time. Like one friend from Mexico, I met in from language school. I mean, I met like a guy from Mexico, a girl from Tunisia, and we came the same year because we were coming like the same time. We had each other's email addresses before we left.
Okay.
Um, Before I left Jamaica, I had her email address, and she thought I could speak French because of my name. I didn't really have like an image of what she looked like. I guess she may have thought like I might have been white as well because of my name.
Ah.
And um, for a while, because she's a lot lighter skinned than I
Right.
am,
Mm-hmm.
um, so she looks white. So a lot of people thought she was from Jamaica and that I was from Tunisia
Ah.
because Tunisia is in
Okay.
Africa.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because it's like, no, she's the
Interesting.
African.
That's
Like,
interesting.
yeah.
So, did you experience any racism in Japan or any racial discrimination? Especially like
Mm,
in school or even when you started working, like, you found it
mhm.
difficult to find a job, or etc. Or
Uh, so I want to say yes and no.
okay,
Um, so I personally have not experienced racial not that I can remember anyway, like like racial discrimination
hmm,
from Japanese people personally in my personal
right,
goings about.
right,
Not saying that it doesn't happen because it does. I
hmm,
just haven't
hmm,
experienced it, and it
right,
might be because of how Kyoto is set up. I think because Kyoto is like so many foreigners come to Kyoto and stuff, and it's
hmm,
also a
hmm,
there where I lived was also a university
right.
town. So I think people
Oh,
kind of
so
expect to
everybody's
see
used to it,
foreign.
right?
Yeah, I think people kind of, and the university I went to, they do foreign exchange programs all the time. So I think people kind of expect to see foreign faces
Mm,
in Kyoto. I
right,
think
right, right.
there's way more foreigners in Tokyo though,
Yeah.
but also I think there's way more discrimination in Tokyo. I'm not saying like
Mm,
people mimic. There are people who are probably racist in Kyoto as well, but I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say like. I
yeah.
mean,
It's not.
there's
It's
some
not
things
overt.
people say about Kyoto people that I'm not gonna
Right.
say, but
Right. 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 No. Well, I
so they
mean, as
probably
long as
won't
you
do
have an
it to your
experience,
face. Is
right?
what I'm gonna say.
And what about like work wise? Have you
Mm,
found any challenges there?
mm, yeah, yeah,
Like finding work or like in work, you're
yeah.
having
Finding
issues with
work.
coworkers finding work.
In work, like I work at a very liberal company, so my
Right.
workplace is really good. I would say, um, but finding work was very difficult. I don't have as much experience as like other people. I think that
Right.
might be like self deprecation, but like I don't feel like I have as much experience, and um, I think that really made it difficult. Also, Japanese. My Japanese is not the greatest. It's not awful, but it's not. I mean, I need to like work on my Japanese like a lot
Right.
more than I am doing. Um, but and then you also have to, when you apply for a job, you also have to put your picture on the application so they know
Mm.
what you look like when, so I have thought, like when I was applying for jobs and I didn't get one and I had applied to, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it was 20 or what. I think because maybe it was 20, because you have to get like 20 rejections in order to extend your visa for like university for job hunting. So I think I had like 20 or so rejections, and like there was a point in time where I was crying. I was not crying, but like, I told my senpai, who I still keep in touch with, even though she went back to her country since then. Like in the past couple of years, she went home. And I told her, like, sometimes I feel like I haven't gotten a job because of the way I look and not necessarily my skill
Right,
level.
right.
Um, so that was like very, and I applied to a lot of animation companies actually.
Yeah, and that's the
I
reason I was
applied to.
asking because we always hear from this side of the world. You'll see articles where two things come up: racial discrimination and gender discrimination. Like,
Hmm.
we kind of hear like, women don't fare well when it comes to getting jobs in the animation industry, and then when they do, they seem to be paid far less. So I was wondering if
Mm,
you
that might be true.
experienced that. Well, I
I am
mean, let me
not.
tell you that came to light when I don't remember the name of the studio, but that studio that burnt down, and
Oh, Kyoto Animation. Yeah, because they pay really well
yes, oh, they
and they
do.
hire a lot of women.
Oh, okay,
That's where
okay.
I lived in that studio. I
Right,
used to live
yes,
near
and that
there.
was and that was the thing. It was when that article came out, and it was saying that studio was one of the few studios that hired
Yeah,
women and paid well, and that's
yeah.
when it kind of came to like when people were like, wait, one of the few studios that hired women, and people started to like look into it to say, how, why is this a thing where the studio is being highlighted for one of the few to hire women, and what's been going on in the other studios. And it kind of came up,
Yeah.
like you saw, kind of article after article talking about the discrimination against women. So that's why I was asking you if you found that either racial or gender discrimination, when you're trying to look for work, or even when you're at work
Hmm.
and thinking about things like a promotion or that sort of
Hmm.
thing, if you feel like one of those discriminations are
Oh.
against you or both.
Well, like I said, I work in a liberal company, so at the
Right.
company that I currently work
Where
at,
do you work?
no, I don't. The Asahi newspaper, so I don't. I don't feel like that there. Like there's
Oh, okay,
no
cool. That's
racial
good to know.
or gender discrimination there.
Mm,
They're
right.
so liberal. Like, right wing people don't like them. Like that's
So
like.
basically, you're basically saying, hey, Jamaicans, if you want to work in Japan or live in Japan, Kyoto is a great place to to be.
Yeah, well, that company is in Osaka actually, but Kyoto is a
Okay.
great place to live. It is. It doesn't have as much nightlife as Osaka, but Kyoto
Hmm.
is like quiet and I guess a little bit cheaper than maybe Osaka. But yeah, I would say like a company like them, and I would not say like they are the yardstick to measure like a company, like in terms of like I don't think that they're like the average company.
Right.
Maybe it's like not as um maybe other companies are not as nice.
Right.
But
Right.
I
Right.
guess like also if you are interested in game design, Kyoto has like a lot of game
Oh,
companies.
cool.
Like Nintendo is from Kyoto.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's nice.
And they pay pretty well, I think. So if you have, I mean, I can technically apply for Nintendo now, but like if you have like really good Japanese,
Right.
like
Right.
almost native level Japanese, you can apply for Nintendo.
So I remember you saying to me before we had started this that you're the, let's see if I remember right. Was it the head of design, or you work in the design department at the newspaper?
Yeah, I work in the design department.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Um, One of the things that I was wondering, because I mean, when you say design, is it like just design for like the graphics, or do they have like a particular cartoon that they do, or what exactly do you do there?
Oh, well, so Japanese newspapers are a little bit different from Jamaican newspapers
Mm-hmm.
in that, like, so they have a lot of graphics in it, a lot more than. So when you have like an article or something, there's usually an accompanying graphic, usually.
Right.
That simplifies the article. So you can just look at it and be like, oh, okay, I know
Mm-hmm.
what this article is about. Usually what we do is like graphs or maps or something like that. So sometimes it's a map, sometimes it's
Oh,
a
okay, okay,
graph,
okay, cool.
sometimes it's an illustration or an infographic or something like that. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
much what we do. And
Okay.
infographics, um, I haven't done like any major like intense infographic or anything
Right,
like
right.
what I've seen like some other people do, but I've done mostly illustration stuff. Uh, so I think I have some of the illustrations that I've done for them on my website, though.
Okay.
Um,
Was that the? Oh,
but
I think I did pass that. It was this. Is it this stuff?
yeah, Asahi Shimbun, yeah. So these are like
Okay.
the illustration type stuff that I've done on there. Um, this is not like all that I've done. It's just like
Right,
a
right,
few of
right,
the
right.
stuff.
Understood. And you still do
Uh,
commissions outside of that?
if I can get them, sure, yeah. I try. If I can get the commissions, I
Yeah.
try. But I guess because my prices are not very high, but they're
Right,
also not like very low. So I think people. I mean, I haven't really gotten that many commissions to say
right,
like.
right.
Uh, I've
Do you
got like
like
a couple.
storyboarding?
I'm sorry.
Do you like storyboarding?
Uh, yeah, I do like storyboarding.
Oh, okay.
I
Because I'm
like
looking
drawing
at your
comics
storyboard
and
work. It
stuff.
looks really nice.
Oh, thank you.
It's really good.
I like doing comics and stuff. So Um, I would like to practice more background work. I really should practice drawing backgrounds more, but
Mhm.
I'm going to get around to it before I start my new job, actually. So
What's your new
it's like
job?
something I
Working at a storyboard artist at Nintendo?
no,
Or wishful thinking
no.
for you?
I never. Yeah, I did not try to reapply to Nintendo this year. I
Okay.
have applied to Nintendo before. I applied like
Oh,
when
cool.
I was looking for jobs, and I actually got to the what do you call that now? Like the exam level, because Nintendo has like many steps. So you have like
Yeah,
this 10-page application that you fill out, and then they have like this thing where, and it's like hundreds of people that apply to Nintendo, so it's really
I can
competitive.
imagine. I can imagine.
Um, but the benefits are probably really good, and then I wouldn't have to move. uh,
That's
but
true.
yeah, because it's a Kyoto company. I
Right,
wonder if
right,
they would give
right.
me a Switch if I would get it for like cheaper. Um,
Well,
and
let
then
me. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and then you like do an exam, and then if you pass the exam, I think you move to
Exam.
like
Oh,
yeah, like there was an exam, and then if you pass the exam, you move to the probably the interview level. And I think they have like two interviews. Usually companies maybe have two or three interviews to get in, but the
mm,
but I applied for a small company in a small animation studio in Tokyo.
oh, cool.
So that's going to be my next job. But it's not going to be
Nice.
specifically storyboarding. I think everybody does everything, is what I get an
Oh,
idea of.
okay. It's like
And they
there's
do
a
stop motion there.
smallish studio. Oh, they do stop motion
Yeah,
there. That's
yeah.
great. Because I was gonna
So
ask you, like,
that's why.
what are the chances of you getting a stop motion job in Japan? But you've answered that
Yeah,
question.
yeah. So that's why I applied there, actually, because they do stop motion.
Cool. All
There
right.
aren't
So
that many studios. So,
yeah, no, I definitely know that much. All right. So here what? Because
mhm.
I know you'll have to go soon. I want to jump to
Yeah.
the last set of questions. So
Mhm.
what are the three biggest things that you've learned along your journey?
Three biggest things. Mm,
Mhm.
mm. Oh, well, I guess the first thing that I probably still need to work on is to ask questions and not try to do it all yourself.
Mhm.
Uh, So that's like a major thing that I'm still learning, and I still need to work on. Um, Second thing, uh, hmm, mm, people say work smart and not hard, but I would also say to keep working hard.
Okay.
I would say, I mean, people always say work smart, not hard, or whatever, but I would say to keep working hard. Like, keep working on yourself and, like, your work, like, because what you put in, the more you put in, right, the more likely something is going to happen.
Right.
Um, so I would say, like, even if you don't think, like, this is, you can, even if you don't think it's very good, like, you can see your progress, right? Because when I first started working, I thought my illustration was okay, but I can see that I've gotten a lot better now than I was before, because I was drawing a lot more and stuff. So I think definitely put the work in. That will You'll see the results when you put the work
Right.
in.
Right. 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 And
So that's the
three.
second thing. And three, sometimes you just get lucky, I guess. Sometimes you just get lucky. I mean,
Like it.
even if, because I would say, like, the Adult Swim thing was luck. It wasn't. I mean, I did put the work up there, but
Right.
or chance or whatever. But it was definitely chance that they saw my work and that they were trying to, like, amplify the voices of, like, people of color at the time. Like, so it's not just black people that they I think it was like
Right.
everybody, but, like,
Right.
yeah, they were trying to amplify the voices of people of color and show, like, the work of people of color. So
Right. Right. And that was the same tambourine. That was the same
uh
tambourine on Adult Swim.
oh, no, Tamron isn't on Adult Swim. It's the Blob Me Tender one and the
Love me
last one
tender.
that I have on my the Robot Chicken one.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. 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 All
Which
right.
is better than than the Blob one, I think. But so you can probably watch it whenever you want. But
All right. Cool. All right. Next question
yeah.
is: what is something that you want to accomplish that you have not as yet?
I want to make a film. Like I want to make a film that, like, wins an award at a film festival, and I want to make a Jamaican film. I won't tell the idea because, it's an idea that I've been thinking about for, like, the past 3 years, but I haven't yet nailed the story, and it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of puppets, and I really want to have, like, a really nice, I don't know, like a heartwarming story come out of it, and I
Yeah.
want to put it in a festival, and I want it to win, and I want the puppets to look good, and I really want to create that. I don't know how long I would make that film, but
I
that's
let
like
me.
a
Can I make a suggestion?
sure.
So my suggestion is, well, do you have someone to consult with on the story first off?
No, not yet. No.
Because one of the things that one of the things that you said is ask questions and stop trying to do it by
Oh, yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
So I would definitely suggest, finding some writers to kind of partner with, or at least one writer, even if it's just from the standpoint of letting them hear your idea and ask you questions
Hmm.
and perhaps reading the script. Because sometimes when you're stuck on something, when you speak it to someone else, things start clicking in
Yeah.
your brain and you go, oh wait, I could do this and I could do that. And
Yeah, yeah.
so that's one.
That's
The second
true.
is, would you be open, so that you don't have as much work to do? Would you be
Hmm.
open to, say, for example, having a stop motion puppet designing workshop, and that way you can discover people who could probably work along with you and do some of the scenes in
Uh,
Jamaica or something?
that would be pretty cool if I could do that. I do not know the logistics of it because I don't know the logistics yet because um like stop motion studio work, you have to have like a studio space and you have to
Right,
have like
right.
which I don't have, which is why my films are not like the best lit or anything because I
Mm-hmm.
don't have like a studio space or anything. And like because I did do like 3 days like a 3-day test sort of thing at the studio in Tokyo. So actually the studio work like is really intense. Um so you need to have like you need to have like the space and people who can lift like a lot of weight. Like you have to be able to lift like 10
Oh, yeah,
kilograms or like you
yeah,
have to be able to like you have to have the muscles like seriously. Stop motion is not like no, you have to have like yeah, those things are heavy. Like the light and like you know like
yeah,
how like
yeah.
in film, right?
Yeah,
So it's
man, yeah,
like
man. I know.
actually like the
I know,
same.
no, because I mean, put it this way, I still, even though animation is one of like my mainstays, I still work on set a lot. You know, I still work on set
Yeah.
a lot. And man, lifting those C stands and lifting the lights and listen, like I'm so happy that LED panels exist now. Because back
Because
in
they're
the
so
day,
light, right?
yeah, man, back in the day it was like, yo, the light was so heavy. What?
Yeah, when I did the studio stuff, like they have like I forget what they're called, but like these clamp things, and they're
Hmm.
so freaking heavy. Like if you if that fell on your finger, like
Yeah,
that
man.
finger's done. And I will say that I went to the hotel that night and I had a very like I went to sleep immediately.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
so tired.
I think that's part of the reason why I still work on set because I get a good night's sleep afterwards.
So yeah, and but the thing is, I would be open to doing like I would definitely be open to doing like a stop motion, like a puppet workshop.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
think I think people would
but
love
the
it
thing
because there are
is,
people here who want to do stop motion, but they don't know how to
mm,
make the puppets or they
to
don't
make
know
it,
how to work with clay. You know.
yeah, yeah, I'd be open to doing that. I think the only issue is that I do wire puppets mostly.
Right.
Like those
Yeah.
are the things that I like to do. And I don't know how expensive. I feel like it's going to be so expensive in Jamaica.
It
Stop motion
might.
already is expensive,
Right. Right. Right.
so
I mean,
and
if
to
we
get
know the list of
aluminum wire.
equipment, so aluminum wire is not hard to get in Jamaica. Because there is a there. All right. If you go to an art supply store, it might be expensive. But I've
Mhm.
found that Ligani Drug and Garden, which is a pharmacy in Ligani, they have an
Mhm.
art supply section and they sell
Yeah.
aluminum of different thicknesses and
Oh,
different
really?
colors. Yeah. So, you know,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
possibility there. And they have like along that
And
aisle, they have,
styrofoam.
yeah, man, they have styrofoam. I would say, put it this way, I've seen in another pharmacy, they have like styrofoam balls of different sizes and
Mhm.
styrofoam like blocks, you know, not
Yeah.
huge blocks, but like more like
Mhm.
thinner
Yeah, the
or
blocks are
rectangular.
good to use.
Hmm. Yeah,
That the blocks would be better than the balls because the blocks you can use an
shave
X-Acto
and
knife and cut it. Yeah.
right, right.
If we can get, sorry, I have like a lot of stuff
Mm,
here.
yeah. I used to want to collect
So just let me know.
styrofoam. You know, like when you buy
It's a specific
equipment
kind of
from abroad.
styrofoam.
Hmm.
Let me see if I have like a piece. I think I have some. Uh, I have like a lot of stuff here that. Uh, do I have? Oh, maybe I don't. I need to buy some then.
Probably.
Oh darn!
Yeah,
I do not have styrofoam. I need to buy
that's
some.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I need to buy some because I have to make like I have a third short working on for Adult Swim now, and I need
Oh
to.
wow. Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So
So Quinn, all right. Another question is, do you miss Jamaica? And will you be coming back anytime soon?
I miss Jamaica. Do not know when I'll be able to come back, but because mostly because of time, you don't get enough holiday
Right.
to come back. And I think the longest holiday is Golden Week, and it's already 2 days to go back to Jamaica and 2 days to come back, and you don't really have that much time in between.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um, but yeah, I miss
So when can we
Jamaica. I
fly
miss
your
the
mom up?
food. Well, she has been here actually.
Oh, okay,
After
cool.
when I graduated, she came. Although right now, like because the borders are closed, nobody can really
Yeah, yeah.
enter the country. But yeah, I miss the food too. I miss Aki. I miss breadfruit. And I miss
Mm,
people. I miss like going to the beach and it taking like 40 minutes as opposed to like
2 hours, 3 hours.
several trains. Yeah, like yeah, like 2 hours and then like the beach not being that very pretty.
Yeah,
So
I
like the
can
north
imagine.
side of Japan doesn't have very nice beaches.
Let me
But
tell
like
you,
the south part,
yeah,
south part has like
that's my
yeah.
brother. Every time, like literally, my brother will be like, "Boy, yeah, I need to come back to Jamaica, but boy, it's like too much to, like it's a lot of money to travel for one, and worse, he
Yeah.
has a family, and he's just like, yo, traveling with kids to the airport, rough. And then, like you
Yeah.
said, 2 days to go, 2 days to come back, because normally he'll fly to the US, stay with my aunt for a bit, then fly to
Yeah.
Jamaica. And but every time he reaches Jamaica, he's like, man, I really, really miss this place. Like, man, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about coming back. But then he flies to Japan, and then the thoughts of coming back disappear. So
Disappear.
he comes back
Yeah.
again.
Because Japan is so convenient, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, that was the thing he said. He was like, it's very convenient, and on top of it, he was saying, honestly speaking, he didn't realize how much he valued safety until he went to
yeah.
Japan.
Went to
Because he was just
Japan.
like,
Yeah.
he can get up
Yeah.
at 4 in the morning and decide, I feel like going for a jog. Or he can go,
Yeah.
walking wherever he feels like. He doesn't need to have to
Mhm.
know that this is a bad area versus a good area. And,
Mhm.
and he was just like, living in a way where, you don't have to fear, it's
For
kind
your
of,
life. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to always be thinking, for example, right? As a woman who's lived in Jamaica, you don't have to be
Mhm.
thinking about, okay, when I get off the bus, which man look like him going to call to me. All right, let me go the opposite
Yeah.
way, or let me take the long way around so I can avoid those people. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to think about those things. So I get why
Yeah.
he's
I
staying
mean,
there.
yeah, I agree. Like comparing to Jamaica, if I were to compare it to Jamaica specifically, maybe there's
Mhm.
some other places that are less safe, but like or more safe than Japan. But like, yeah, I feel like I don't have to worry about catcalling at all. Um, the only thing that, well, it's never happened to me though, personally, but like, there are creepy people still,
Yeah,
like
right.
creepy
Yeah,
old
everywhere
men,
you go. Yeah.
you know. Um, but like, I've never had the experience. I guess also because I'm quite, in Japanese society, I'm quite tall. So,
Mhm.
um,
Oh yeah, for real.
yeah. Yeah, back home I'm like average to short, but here I'm tall.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, my brother did say that too. He was like, "Yeah, in Japan, you're like, you feel huge."
yeah, yeah, it's also kind of like it gives you some complexes like about, especially me, like I've always had like a little bit of a, oh, maybe I need to lose weight thing, but like ever since I've
Mm.
come to Japan, it's like been constant, like because the doctors will tell you, oh, you need to lose weight, and you know,
Yeah, because they're
every time I
small.
go to the
They don't
doctor,
understand.
yeah, every time I go to the doctor, it's like you need to lose weight. I'm
Oh
like,
boy.
okay. It's like you're being. I remember once I went to the doc, like I went to do like the yearly checkup thing, and the nurse was like, "Oh," like she looked like she's like, "Do you want me to tell them?" And I'm like, "Sure, I guess. I'll work on it."
Oh boy.
you know. So
Interesting. All right. So what? Sorry, not what. Who do you want to collaborate with, both locally and internationally?
Oh, I've never actually thought about that. Um, yeah, I think I don't keep up with everything now, so I don't know who is local and who is international.
Understand. Understand.
Yeah. Local to Jamaica.
Yeah, local to Jamaica. Yeah, I should have specified that.
Yeah. If there's like people who are into stop motion,
Mm,
definitely would love to collaborate with them. Um, I think stop motion is kind of it's there's a revival nowadays, so like a kind of so there are more stop motion artists coming up.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's also fun, and I feel like there is a place for it in Jamaica as well. I mean, because a lot of ads use stop motion and stuff, so you can find
Yeah.
work with it.
Believe it or not, there
If
was
people
a
know.
studio. There was a studio in Korea that does stop motion that was looking to kind of set up a satellite shop in Jamaica, but that didn't work out.
Mhm.
But that
Uh,
would have been very interesting and
yeah,
revolutionary.
I think I I think the thing is people. I don't know. I don't know if. Well, I think like the introduction of 3D as well, like also kind of kicked stop motion out because
Mm.
stop motion was the original 3D, and then
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
now it became digital. It was a lot easier, a lot cheaper to do,
Right,
but
right.
there's like an
There's a
allure,
feel
I
to it.
guess.
Yeah, man, there is.
Yeah,
There's
to stop
a lot to it.
motion, and I think people nowadays, especially since in recent years, people are trying to be more. I don't want to say natural, but like, because stop motion isn't necessarily natural or anything, but like,
Right.
you know, people are going more towards like crafting a lot more and stuff. So I think that's
Hmm.
probably why it's becoming a little bit more popular.
Right, right.
In addition to other things, in addition to like Leica, because Leica is the only, well, not the only, but like one of the first studios to consistently do films,
Right.
and not like television shows. Whereas like I guess the only other major stop motion studio is Aardman in the UK, and Aardman has been
Right.
around for like donkey's
Yeah,
years,
man,
right?
decades, yeah.
So, um, and because
You
those two
ever heard
studios
of
are still doing
Tactoon?
really well.
You ever heard of
I'm sorry,
Tactoon? You ever heard of Tactoon?
Tactoon? Uh, I'm not sure. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's the studio
I'm
from
not sure.
Korea, TAK. Yeah, that's the
Um,
studio from Korea that wanted to do the stop motion studio out here. All right, so my final question,
Tactoon.
which, yeah, TAKTOON. I
Oh,
think
I'll
the
look it up.
name is Tak, Mr. Tak. But yeah, the last
Mhm.
question, which may not even be the last question because you may have already answered this.
Oh yeah,
I have here, what's your three biggest advice for anyone who wants to pursue the same career as you?
stop motion. Or like animation in general.
Animation in general.
In general. Um, please, 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 for the love of God, do life drawing.
Do life drawing. I love that one. I love that one. And there's
Please
a
do life
guy,
drawing.
yeah, like Robert Reed would say the same
Mhm.
thing, and Nicholas Shelton would say the same thing. So yeah, I
Do
love
it.
that
Like,
one.
draw from life as much as possible. There's so many. I mean, there's draw from life. Just even if you draw from a photograph, draw from life. Please do not shy away from drawing naked people. Draw the naked people because
Right.
you learn from drawing the naked people. Even if you don't. I know there are lots of Christian people and they're like, oh, nudity. Oh my God. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's not about that. When you draw art, you're not drawing naked people to get off on drawing naked
Right.
people.
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
drawing it because you need to understand how the body looks when it's put together. You need to understand the muscles. You need to understand like um how someone looks when they're sitting down because like clothing can obscure like what the body looks like, and if you just keep
Yes.
drawing people who are clothed, you're not going to understand anatomy properly. So draw the naked
That's
people,
good.
draw
Yeah.
lots of naked people. You do not have to, you don't have to like be like explicit, obviously. Just
Right.
do like a lot of quick drawings. Do a lot of that. Like I have like a anatomy book somewhere in my room, and I can say that like my anatomy is not the greatest. You
Right.
need to keep doing it. It's not something that you can just do one day and be like, yes, that's it. No, keep doing it. You have to
Keep
keep
doing
doing
it.
it.
Okay, cool.
That's the first thing. Second thing for animation is, um, you can even start animating on paper. Animate on paper. I think it's good to also animate. If you don't have access to paper, animate in whatever program you have. Just keep practicing it. I
Right.
think like why I would suggest to animate on paper if you're doing 2D, I guess, is
Right.
because um I don't want you to like get into the habit of thinking that it's a software doing it. You
Right.
have to you have to learn animation itself, like learn the principles, understand the principles. There's only 12 of them. I mean,
Yeah, man.
like,
And no, and I really appreciate that because trust me, like I really hate when I hear students go, "Oh yeah, I would practice animation, but I don't have the software. I don't have
yeah,
Toon Boom, or I don't have Adobe Animate." And I'm like, "Yo, there are free programs out there. Just like choose one
yeah.
and
Just
animate with it."
draw. And if you can't find a program, there's paper.
There's
Paper
paper.
exists. You can get like a light board and that's what I did in my university. At university, I animated on paper. I didn't
Hmm.
have like a program. I didn't know how to use a program. I animated on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I showed people like one of the first animations was done on a chalkboard. So,
Yeah,
you can do it
yeah.
on anything.
So
And now you have your phone, there's an app
yeah,
called
just take
Stop
a
Motion
picture.
Studio. Take a picture and yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. That is literally what I did. I drew the pictures on paper and I used my phone and I took like the pictures using stop motion studio, and that's what I mean, the animation isn't like on my website or
Right,
anything,
right.
but like it was like a 15-second thing, and it was like this much paper. I'm not kidding, like this thick. So drawn paper, it's gonna be a lot of paper,
Right,
but
right, right.
drawn paper, animate on paper. If you don't have software, the software doesn't matter. I know like the industry standard now is to use Toon Boom, but Toon Boom is quite
Right.
expensive. I cannot afford Toon Boom, so I have an iPad. I draw in Procreate.
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
um, you can animate in Procreate. Procreate is like, if you have an iPad, Procreate is like $5 or something,
Oh, okay.
something like that, or maybe 25. I don't remember. It's really cheap. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just a one-time payment. So,
Right, right.
you can
And what's your
use
third piece of
Procreate.
advice?
Yeah. Third piece of advice. So the first one was draw from life. The second one
Right.
was like animate on paper for 2D. The third one I would say is do not limit yourself to only animation. Like
Oh,
in
interesting.
terms of in terms of your consumption. Um, watch everything.
Yeah.
Watch everything. Do not think that, and this is something that somebody said to me at the studio that I applied to as well. Um, they said like they thought it was really good that I didn't only watch animation,
Uh,
because um, watching only animation can limit your creativity. And
very true.
please don't watch only like Japanese animation. Just watch everything. Watch television shows, watch movies, watch short films, watch shitty films, like for lack of a better word, watch really bad films, because watching really bad films or even reviews of bad films will show you what not to do. You know,
Right,
you
right,
learn
right.
from these things. Like I love bad films. I watched Twilight for the first time the other day, like a
Ooh.
year ago, and I remember when I was in university and everybody was just like, oh my god, Twilight is so bad. And all the guys were like, Twilight is so bad. And all the girls were like, Twilight is so great. And I watched the movie and it is so incompetent. I was so shocked. I was so shocked.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like I'm not, and I don't mean like the acting only. Like who was the director of
yeah, man.
photography? What were they
Everything,
doing?
everything, everything. I mean, trust me, I remember watching it in the theater and like I laughed when I think his name was Edward showed what happens when he's exposed to sunlight and he
Yeah,
started glittering. And I just started
yeah.
laughing and like all the women in the theater got upset with me. They're like, shh. I'm like, but that's that, I'm like this is what he's afraid of.
It could have been done better. I mean, it could have been filmed better. It could have been acted slightly better. I don't
Many
think.
things, many
I mean,
things.
I don't. I'm not gonna knock the actors because Robert Pattinson is actually a really, really good
Yeah,
actor.
no, he's incredible.
Kristen Stewart, I don't know. I haven't really seen her in anything since that, so I don't know if she's
Mhm.
like good or not. But um, but I remember there was a scene where like he's confronting her or she's confronting him, and they're in the woods for I don't know what reason, like. And every time he asked her a question, like the camera keeps like circling them, and I'm like, why would you do this?
Oh,
Why would
man.
you choose this as an option for your filming? Like just the filming alone, I thought the whoever was doing their cinematography was like on crack or something because I don't know what they were like, why they would do that.
Oh boy.
it's like it's like the worst film that has like the highest budget and looks beautiful, but like
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing. Why would you make these choices? These are choices that you didn't have to make.
So true.
But
So
yeah,
true. All
yeah. But
right.
I would say like watch everything. Don't limit yourself to and don't have. I think also like what makes you stand out is um not necessarily having like a favorite animation,
Mm-hmm.
but have like favorite directors.
Mm-hmm.
Have directors that you look up to. I mean, this is like a supplement to the third thing, but like have directors
Right.
that you look up to, not necessarily animation, and stop calling Japanese animation anime. Like that's like a
Right.
third,
Yeah,
but
no,
like a fourth
it's
one.
so yeah, it's so hilarious. Like I'll talk about his animation and they'll be like, "Sir, anime," and I'm like, "It's really no difference."
There's no
It's
difference. I mean, like other than the fact that the frame rate is different, like
right.
that's probably the
Yeah,
only difference.
yeah. I mean,
So
it's like the difference between a cyclone and a storm, or a cyclone and a hurricane. It's like
yeah,
it's
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 like
the
no,
same thing. It's just that
same thing.
in that hemisphere they just call it something
Call it
different.
something different. Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes it trips me up too because I haven't. Anytime I go on the internet and I see people saying, "Oh, this anime, blah blah blah," um, it stays in my brain, and like when I talk to Japanese people and I say, "Oh, this anime," you know, like I remember saying to a coworker because he loves watching cartoons, right? And I
Hmm.
I said like, um, I don't remember what we were talking about. Maybe uh, comics or something, or some show in the US. And I said like, oh, you can really see the anime, no, like the anime influence. And he was like, what? What? He's like, what? And then he's like, oh, Japanese anime. He's like, you mean Japanese animation? I was like, yeah, that's what I meant. I do not know why I said that way because that was
Right.
actually kind of stupid. It sounds stupid. It's like I can see the animation influence on the animation. It's like how that doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. Like
exactly, exactly,
so,
exactly. All right,
yeah,
well, that is
that's it.
pretty much it. Thank you very much for your time. I found this very, very interesting.
Oh,
Very interesting journey. And I mean, it sounds like you've had an amazing journey and you still have some amazing journeys to look forward to.
I
Because
hope.
I'm definitely looking, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to hearing what comes next when you work in the stop motion studio. Because I know you really love
yeah,
stop motion, so I definitely want to see how that works out.
yeah. I'm really excited for the job. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. Like more details and stuff. I'm really excited. So I'm hoping that they like decide, like they continue to decide, like keep continuing to decide to give me the job. Yeah,
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 definitely. Alrighty. Well, I am going to end it here for today. Thank you so much for your time. This has been
sure.
almost like an hour and a half, so that's a good.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to edit.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.